There's a place outside Diamond City that might be home to some particularly hardy and moody citizens of the Commonwealth.
Strong come here with brothers once. Made a group of humans. Long time ago. No one human knows.
Maybe they didn't find that the Great Green Jewel had a place for them. Maybe they found that in a location which is a bit easier for caravans to get to, they could earn a whole lot more caps. Maybe they were just fed up with Diamond City's mayor and all his bullshit, especially if they're ghouls.
You hit like a rad roach.
If Diamond City is the Great Green Jewel, then this place is the hidden treasure of the Fens. But, with a bit more murder than that name implies.
Strong want fighting and killing. Human just talk, talk, talk.
It's a place with a name that you won't soon forget.
Strong not remember it.
For a place that was once home to just a handful of raiders, it's become a bustling wasteland town.
So many humans, not many super mutants.
I am talking, of course, about Hangman's Alley.
Strong will keep lookout. Maybe ghouls or raiders nearby.
Now before I go any further, spoiler warning! You have been warned. But if you're here, you surely don't care, so watch onward. This is a showcase of what your rise of the Commonwealth city at Hangman's Alley will look like at level 3. Just know that seeing the settlement build itself up organically is probably going to be much cooler and more awe-inspiring for the first time if you experience it in person. And that everyone who watches this video is secretly being judged for robbing yourselves of that wondrous experience. Not by me, of course, but surely by someone. Onward! Let's start first with how people survive in Hangman's Alley. Your basic needs. Hangman's Alley has 2 ways in or out, if you have 2 working legs. If you were to walk out the north gate, you'd be immediately greeted by the sight of the Charles River. If you were to drink out of it, in the real world or in the Commonwealth you see here, you might turn into a ghoul either way. So that grand stream of toilet rads needs some filtering.
Lots of rads in water. Strong not mind. Human should be careful.
Like I was saying, at level 3, you can drink water with the help of this rooftop purifier. And if some mirelurk critically humps the intake pipe, well, at least there'll be some purified water stocked up in the water tower. For power, well, when you're in tight quarters, fossil fuel powered generator exhaust doesn't do you any favors, so there are a couple of these up on the rooftops, along with a few well-placed windmills, which would have no problem keeping the incandescents and the neons in the town lit up. But that industrial water purifier is a different beast, so while we need more power, why reinvent the wheel when you can just steal power from the Great Green Jackpot? They clearly have juice to spare with all those luxurious stadium lights. Food in Hangman's Alley is a little less straightforward, and this is where location comes in handy. Most may rely on traveling caravan merchants to import fresh meat and scavenge non-perishables, but with a couple of greenhouses placed well enough to get some decent sunlight, these ruffians won't starve if they end up getting cut off from their supplies. Let's just hope they don't only grow corn. Not sure if the plumbing here would be up to the task. More than being a refuge from the mundane stadium life or the shit show that is surviving downtown Boston, this little alley is a place to find goods that you might not so easily find elsewhere. From places that are all a little morbidly named in the style of the settlement itself. Maybe you want a casket to bury a loved one, or even someone you don't love and haven't even killed yet. Hell, if you buy a tombstone as well, you'll have a pretty solid murder weapon to boot. Maybe you're looking for some dapper pre-war gangster clothing, but you don't really want to go through all the trouble of finding and disposing of triggermen in order to find the one that wears your size. Maybe the executioner, whoever he or she is, needs a more severe implement with which to do what needs to be done. Maybe you're just a weary traveler who's tired of blood bugs and you want to keep all your blood on the inside by wearing a protective suit of power armor on the outside. If so, this soon-to-be open shop will in some future mod update have those fusion-powered overcompensation suits that meet all of your needs. Not that you have needs. I'm sure you're very secure in your meat sack just the way it is. In this tour, I want to go a bit deeper into how I built this place and my thinking behind it. You saw in my tour of Finch Farm the way I took 4 or 5 distinct elements of that settlement and its backstory and turned them up to 11. Those included the highway, the junkyard, the food farm, the abuse of street signs as a decoration. There's some backstory with a nearby raider gang and a weapon that's a family heirloom, and those all added to the richness of the city I designed there. Hangman's Alley, by contrast, has none of that shit. Bethesda was just like, hey, here's a little alley, we don't know what to do with it, have some raiders and some little shacks and try and make it look good, dorks. Well, Bethesda, on behalf of myself and everyone who's tried to make a good-looking settlement here, then inevitably had to rebuild the thing at least 4 times to make it look the least amount of shitty possible, because this place spatially makes no goddamn sense, well, you can go eat a whole big Hey, Strong, you know what they can eat, right?
Weakling human asks stupid question. Maybe Strong should be leader. Human bad leader.
That's right, Strong. Dicks. Great burgers there. Cash only, go figure. So anyway, no backstory, just an infuriatingly cramped space, some Diamond City guards, and super mutants that are constantly fighting only a couple blocks away. And a grim-sounding name. That's all I had to work with here. But I did it. I beat my head against this settlement enough that it finally does look like a plausible, possibly even structurally sound, very vertically oriented little town. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back here, I'm just really so chuffed that I never have to build here again. But back to the interesting shit. You'll notice as I walk around and up this area what I was able to pull off spatially here. It's really easy to build in this already tiny settlement and just fill it up with stuff so that there's no discernible look to the place if you're in the middle of it or looking at it from the outside or above. My goal here was to make something that still felt open enough to retain some visual character, but also felt still like an alley full of people who've tried to carve out a small place to live. The crisscrossing bridges and ramps and stairs really helped pull this off, but they're also the reason I had to build this place and rebuild it so many times. Now this trailer here, which couldn't have been easy to lift up here, is inhabited by someone who probably has a thing or two to say about good old Travis and his confidence-free broadcasts. Radio Fens is still in the process of getting up and running, but at some point, when Sim Settlements adds an actual in-game radio station to the game, this is where it'll be coming from.
Other humans here this far away. Like Radio Strong trick Rex human to use.
With all the nearby gunfights, I decided to try and figure out how to really lock this place down. There are windows looking into the alley from every surrounding building, so naturally, most of those are boarded up or blocked off. You've seen the main entrance and its long tunnel that's designed to funnel attackers through it in such a way that enables maximum killing by the guards and turrets that protect it. This rear entrance has been heavily fortified so as to discourage any outsiders from even approaching it. There's a big gate placed between most of the market vendors and the more residential areas of Hangman's Alley so that in the unlikely event that a settlement attack is successful, the goods and caps can be sacrificed, and the lives and homes of the inhabitants of Hangman's Alley won't necessarily be lost as well.
Good defenses. Hard to attack.
As I built this settlement, I honestly couldn't tell if the settlers here were just very aggressive and grim settlers, still hanging corpses at both gates, or if they were just slightly more domesticated raiders. So as I do for many of my builds in this series, I traveled around downtown Boston to try and get a sense of how other settlers, or raiders, have built their settlements. Most of them are similar in that they take the high ground and will often have some sort of open-air lounge or lookout on the rooftops. Hangman's Alley is no different.
Strong, not like wide open. Easy targets.
Now I'm going to backtrack and skip ahead a bit to show you the upper levels of the market area. This settlement isn't just for people who prefer to buy weird stuff from creepy vendors, or grab a drink at the roadhouse, or get hung up like a corpseified Christmas ornament at the gate. There's some more R&R to be had here, for those in the downtown area who can afford a steep buy-in at the door of the Gallows Den. One of the few buildings in this place that's got a pretty solid foundation below it, and a bit more protection with its metal walls around it.
Strong not want to live in metal tunnel. Too small.
Between the den above and the jail cell below it outside the main gate sits the other guard post and some other easy-to-miss defenses, though in this case that's done entirely on purpose. There's a fair bit of smaller details that I glossed over or skipped in this tour, so if you want the full experience, get thyself to Hangman's Alley and start building your Rise of the Commonwealth city plan. One of those things I'll just mention to tease you. Tucked away from prying eyes behind the settlement sign above the market is a player home that I built just for you. It's got close access to the purified water tower, a fair bit of storage inside it, and gives full access to the rooftops above. It might even have a kingly white throne for you to use if the Brahmin meat was a little off.
Strong will bring brothers here one day. Make good home.
Thank you for watching my tour of this gritty little city. I hope you've enjoyed it, and that maybe you're a bit inspired now to go check it out for yourself in Rise of the Commonwealth. Leave a like if you dig this place. Subscribe if you want to check out my other upcoming builds at Jamaica Plain, Outpost of Munja, and my latest one, Bunker Hill. It's really going to shock you. It's just so electrifying. It'll give you a jolt of,
Shut up!
Subscribe if you want me to stop making shitty puns. You can also buy my silence. Cash only.
Me said shut up, or me rip out your tongue.